The rain had been falling for 3 days straight in Millbrook, Tennessee, and the river that cut through the edge of town had stopped asking permission before it took what it wanted. Marcus Hale had been standing at the edge of the flooded park trail for 20 minutes, watching the brown water swirl and churn where the walking path used to be, his 7-year-old daughter Lily asleep in the truck behind him. He wasn't even sure why he'd stopped. Maybe it was habit. He and Claire used to walk this trail every Sunday morning before she got sick, before the world rearranged itself into something he barely recognized anymore. 2 years had passed since the funeral, and some mornings he still reached for her side of the bed. He was about to turn back to the truck when he heard it, a sound somewhere between a gasp and a cry, coming from the direction of the old wooden footbridge that the county had marked with a yellow warning sign nobody ever paid attention to. Then he saw her, a woman, maybe late 30s, clinging to one of the bridge's support posts with both arms, the water rushing around her waist, her face a mask of pure, controlled terror. Her car, a silver sedan, was nose down into the ditch on the far bank, back wheels still spinning uselessly in the air. She must have tried to cross when the water was lower, misjudged it, and been swept off the road. Marcus didn't think. His boots were already in the water before his brain finished processing the scene. The current was stronger than it looked, cold enough to knock the breath from his chest, and it grabbed at his legs like something angry and alive. He grabbed a fallen branch from the bank, held it out toward her, and waded forward until he was close enough to grip her wrist. She latched onto him with the kind of desperation that only comes from real fear, the kind where the body takes over and the pride steps aside. He pulled her to the bank. She collapsed onto the muddy grass, coughing, shaking, and for a long moment neither of them said anything. The rain kept falling, the river kept moving. The world didn't stop to notice what had just happened. Then she looked up at him and he saw it, the realization crossing her face like a shadow. She glanced down at herself. Her blouse, a thin cotton thing, had been taken completely by the current at some point during the struggle. She had no idea when. Her jacket was gone too. She crossed her arms over her chest, her cheeks flushing red despite the cold, and when she looked back at him her voice came out small and mortified. "The water took my clothes." She paused, eyes searching his face. "You won't look, right?" Marcus Hale, to his credit, had already turned around. "Take my shirt," he said, and he pulled his flannel off his back without another word, held it out behind him without turning, and waited. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the simple power of one human being choosing to see another, hit that like button, drop a comment, share this with someone who needs it today, and subscribe to the channel Kindness so you never miss a story like this one. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We want to know where Kindness lives. Her name was Dana Cleary, and she told him so once she was wrapped in his flannel, sitting in the passenger seat of his truck with the heater running and a cup of lukewarm coffee from his thermos warming her hands. Lily had woken up somewhere in the middle of it all and was now watching Dana from the back seat with the wide, unfiltered curiosity that only children possess. "Your daddy just saved me," Dana told her, not really knowing what else to say. Lily considered this very seriously. "He does that," she said. "He saved a dog once too, and a turtle." Dana laughed, a real surprised laugh, and something in the cab of that truck shifted, the way air shifts before a storm breaks and becomes something clean. She had been driving back from Nashville. She'd just signed the final paperwork on her divorce, 12 years of marriage reduced to signatures and initials, and she'd taken the back roads because she didn't want to sit in highway traffic with her own thoughts. She hadn't told anyone where she was going. She hadn't told anyone much of anything lately. "You could have died out there," Marcus said. He wasn't saying it to frighten her. He was saying it the way people do when the truth of something finally lands. "I know," she said quietly. He called the county road crew about her car, called a tow company he knew, and sat with her while they waited because it didn't feel right to leave. Lily fell back asleep, curled under his jacket in the back seat, one sneaker on and one sneaker mysteriously missing, the way children sleep when the world is still safe to them. Dana held the coffee cup and looked out the rain-blurred window and said, "Why'd you stop?" Most people wouldn't have stopped. He was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. I used to walk this trail with my wife. I guess I still come here, sometimes without thinking about it." She looked at him then, really looked at him. The tired eyes, the ringless hand on the steering wheel, the way he checked the rearview mirror to look at his daughter even when she was already asleep. "Past tense," she said softly. He nodded once. 2 years ago. Outside, the rain began to ease. Not stop, just ease, the way grief eases, not all at once but in degrees, in small permissions it grants you. I just finalized my divorce today, she said. She hadn't planned to say it. It came out the way things do when you're sitting with a stranger who's already seen you at your most vulnerable. 12 years, 2 kids who are with their dad this weekend, and I drove into a flood because I wasn't paying attention to anything in front of me. Marcus didn't offer a platitude. He didn't say it would be okay or that time heals or any of the other things people say when they don't know what else to do. He just said, "That's a heavy day to drive through alone." She turned to look at him, and her eyes filled without warning. She blinked hard, pressed her lips together, and looked back out the window. "Yeah," she managed. "It really is." The tow truck came an hour later. The car wasn't totaled, bent frame, some water damage, the kind of fixable that costs money she didn't really have right now, but she'd figure it out. She always figured it out. That was the thing about braking. It teaches you that you can survive the braking. When the driver told her they'd need to take the car to the shop in town and she'd need a ride, Marcus said, without any performance or hesitation, "We can take you wherever you need to go." Lily, who had woken back up and eaten half a granola bar, immediately agreed. "We can take you," she confirmed, with the gravity of someone signing a treaty. Dana looked at this man, this tired, good, quiet man who had waded into a flood for a stranger, taken the shirt off his back without a second thought, sat with her through an hour of rain without making her feel like a burden, and she thought about all the moments in her life when she had decided that people were essentially selfish, that kindness was transactional, that the world ground you down until there was nothing soft left. She thought about how wrong she had been. He drove her to the small motel on Route 9 because she didn't want to make the long drive back to Nashville until the roads cleared. He carried the single bag she'd managed to pull from her car. Lily walked alongside Dana and, without asking permission or explanation, slipped her small hand into Dana's like it was the most natural thing in the world. Dana stopped walking. She stood in the motel parking lot in a strange man's flannel shirt, her car in a shop, her marriage officially over, her life spread out in front of her like a road with no signs, and she felt, of all things, okay, not fixed, not healed, just okay, which she was beginning to understand is sometimes everything. She turned back to Marcus. "Thank you," she said, and she meant it in the largest possible way, the way that covers not just the river and the shirt, but the hour of sitting and the non-platitudes, and the way his daughter held her hand without being asked. "Thank you for stopping." He nodded, hands in his pockets, rain-damp and shirtless in the cold air, and he gave her a small smile, the kind that lives at the corner of the mouth, the kind that costs something. "Take care of yourself," he said. "You deserve someone looking out for you." She watched them drive away, the truck disappearing around the bend, and she stood there in the quiet parking lot as the last of the rain finally stopped and the clouds pulled back and the late afternoon light came through like something being offered. She took a breath. Then she took out her phone and called her sister, who she hadn't spoken to properly in 8 months, and when her sister answered and said, "Dana?" In that careful, hopeful voice, Dana said, "Hey, I had a hard day. Can you just talk to me for a while?" And her sister said, "I've been waiting for you to call." Somewhere across town, Marcus Hale pulled into his driveway, helped Lily out of her car seat, and stood for a moment in the last of the light with his hand on the truck door. He looked up at the sky, at the clouds breaking apart, at the blue coming through. He thought of Claire. He thought of the way kindness keeps moving forward through people, passing from hand to hand like something that doesn't know how to stay still. "Good day, Bug?" he asked Lily. She thought about it with great seriousness. "We helped someone," she said. He picked her up and held her against his chest and looked at the breaking sky. "Yeah," he said. "We did. If this story moved you, if you believe that one stranger's kindness can change the direction of someone's entire day, someone's entire life, please like this video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded that good people still exist. Subscribe to the channel Kindness so you never miss a story that restores your faith in people. We read every single comment. We see you. And we are so glad you're here.